Hello, and welcome to my lit critique of The Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland came out first as a manga series in late 2016, written by Kayu Shirai and illustrated by Pozuka Demizu, after gaining a lot of popularity in the manga community for its profound characters, immersive story, and quality as a manga. The Promised Neverland was adapted and released as an anime by Cloverworks in early 2019, directed by Japanese storyboard artist and director Mamoru Kanbei. For this critique, I will only be focusing on the anime adaptation. The Promised Neverland follows a group of children in an isolated orphanage, centering around three main characters, Emma, Ray, and Norman. It follows their story as they uncover a dark secret in their orphanage. They realize they are being raised as food for demons by their caretaker, Isabella. Determined to escape and save their friends, they embark on a dangerous journey filled with alliances, sacrifices, and the pursuit of freedom. The series explores themes of survival, trust, and the price of freedom, with Isabella playing a significant role as the main antagonist and their formidable adversary. Despite its horror elements, the anime is targeted towards teenagers and older children. This brings me to my personal critique of The Promised Neverland. Through a gender lens, The Promised Neverland portrays women as complex and resilient characters who challenge traditional gender norms, demonstrating their agency and strength within a dystopian setting. It does so by pushing viewers to empathize with the two contrasting characters who represent two different sides of the challenge to overcome society's expectations. In this analysis, I will be focusing on what the contrast between Isabella and Emma shows us about The Promised Neverland's portrayal of women. First, let's understand how each character is portrayed individually. Emma is the protagonist of the story. She is cheery, athletic, and always there for the children in the orphanage. One of the main struggles of her story is how she decides to escape with all the children in the orphanage, even when Ray and Norman consistently try to convince her it is impractical. This, right off the bat, gives us a very good understanding of Emma's character. She believes in cooperation with the other kids, and most of all, is passionate and committed to her goal of survival for every kid in the orphanage. She understands that it will be much more difficult to escape with the rest of the children, but through the Promised Neverland narration, Emma is portrayed as strong-willed as she neglects Ray and Norman's advice and therefore demonstrates her own agency and strength despite all the odds that are stacked against her. This additionally showcases a divergence of the traditional role of women, which is to not display or voice desires or agency, and to follow the leader, who most usually happens to be male. Isabella is initially portrayed as the caring, motherly figure who steps into her traditional role as a woman to take care of the children in the orphanage. Horrifically, it is revealed that she is actually working for the demons to help facilitate children for them to eat. On the surface level, she is portrayed as a villain, but obviously enough. But after a series of flashbacks to her time as a child in the orphanage, we start to sympathize with her and her main struggle, which is simply surviving in a world that is working against her. A villain is anyone who is an intentional obstacle in a protagonist's journey to good, and while they may be the villain in one story, they could be the victim in their own.
"ママ、どうして俺を産んだの?" それはね、レイ。生き延びるためよ。誰よりも長く。
In the video we just watched, it is revealed that while Isabella was in training to become a mother, she was pregnant with and gave birth to her son, Ray. He asks her why she gave birth to him, and she tells him that it was so she could survive, longer than anyone. Before we unpack that quote, to give you a short summary of Isabella's background, when she was younger and in a demon farm orphanage similar to Emma and the other children, she too found out the truth about her orphanage. She had planned to escape with her friend Leslie, but before she could, he was taken away to be harvested. This turned a switch on in Isabella, who concluded it was impossible to escape the world she lived in. Thereafter, her one reason to live, her main goal was now to survive longer than anyone. I'd assume that by anyone, she meant the other children she grew up with. the children she takes care of, and really any other human under the control of the demons. For Isabella, losing Leslie shattered any hope she had of escaping the horrific world she lived in, and rather than accepting her doomed fate, she decided to survive in any way she could, even if it meant raising children just so they could be taken and eaten by demons. On the surface level, we see the Promised Neverland playing into the traditional gender norm that women are natural caretakers, that motherhood is the main and most important role a woman can take on. But on a deeper level, we see that Isabella's every move is calculated for her own benefit and survival, including giving birth to a child that she later marks for harvesting. Example, Ray. This demonstrates Isabella's resilience, choosing to survive even after Leslie, who I'd say was her unlabeled soulmate, dies. It demonstrates her complexity as we peel back each layer to reveal who Isabella truly is and why she does what she does. In the end, through cooperation and determination, Emma is able to escape the orphanage with the older children, promising to come back for the younger ones. And this is where I say Emma and Isabella represent two sides of the same coin. They both live in worlds built against their favor. They are both offered non-choices, death or motherhood, and they both wanted something more. And although the two characters continually display their own strength and resilience, they both display agency in different ways and choose to divert the roles in society set up for them in different ways, ultimately showing us how The Promised Neverland successfully portrays women as complex and diverse characters that must be represented more frequently in media. Thank you for watching.